Hi everybody, it's Paul again with Snyder Fishing Products. A lot of my friends who bring home yellowtail on the boats want to know how to fillet them if they do them themselves. I think I mentioned this before, that when you get your fish filleted on the boat, they go really fast. I mean, sometimes they have 200 fish to do by the time they get back into port, and they don't have much time to accomplish it. So as a result of that, sometimes they will leave a little meat on there because they're trying to do it quickly, and some people want the satisfaction of just doing it themselves. So I'm going to show you how to do a basic yellowtail. This is not very big. We caught these yesterday, traveling from kelp patty to kelp patty. We were about 25 miles west of the Coronado Islands, just off the Mexican coast, and I think the boat we had over 200. There were some Dorado caught, not very many, I think 4 or 5. So mainly it was a yellowtail day, and they were this size, some of them a little bit bigger. So let me get started. We use 2 different types of knives, or I do. Mainly, I use a fillet knife. It has the curve. It's flexible, so it's pretty easy to work with. And then when I'm going to cut things up more finely, I have a sushi knife, which they are extremely sharp, and they're made with much higher grade steel, so you can get that really sharp edge to make really fine cuts. I don't use this so much, but the fillet knife is really my main tool. So what we want to do when we cut it is go behind this fin, and there's a lot of meat that runs all the way up to my thumb right here. So this section right here. So when we cut, we want to cut this way. You see a lot of guys that just go straight across, and you're losing a pretty good chunk of meat by doing that. So we're going to come in here just behind the fin and cut downward, and then that gives us the cut that we need. Then we're going to take the blade and turn it this way. Now to make this cut, we're not going to go like this with the whole knife. You'll never get it done. But if you come in this way and then push down, let me get it started, like this, you're going right along those bones along the back and capitalizing on the most amount of meat. Now I'm going to come all the way through, and you kind of have to get a little practice with it, but I can feel the backbone as I'm cutting. I'm keeping it right on that bone. Be careful of your hands, you don't want to push through. I'm not pushing really hard. That's more really controlled. So just kind of pushing through, come all the way down, and then when I get to the very end, or about maybe an inch or so behind, I'll cut this direction, because this back section of it is full of tendons. It's not the tastiest form of the fish, and a little tough. You probably don't want to eat it. So there's our main piece, our fillet. We'll work on that to show you how to complete it. There are these bones right here, and they run this direction. Those are the rib bones. They're right on the surface right here. You can kind of see them. They're white in color, and they run right through here. There's one kind of almost poking out. Those we want to remove. I don't like to eat around bones. Some people don't mind, but it's not the funnest thing. So I'm going to come through at an angle and go this direction underneath those ribs, because there is some meat underneath there that we want to capitalize on. So I'm going to come through like this and come down under those ribs and cut that section away. There. Now, if this was a bigger yellowtail, like the big ones, you can turn around and cut this meat free from the back side of the ribs, and you could have another fillet almost with this meat that comes off the belly. This is pretty thin. We wouldn't end up with much by the time we remove the skin, so I'm not going to bother with it. So here's our finished fillet at this point. I come down the middle. It's the easiest way, and that's more of a serving size. Turn the knife. Again, I'm using the first part of the knife. Don't try to use the base of the knife to do it, because you won't have any results. You want to use the front of the knife and kind of curve it down as soon as you touch that skin. But when you touch the skin, stop. Don't push too hard, because you don't want to cut through. So I'm going to come down here. I take the tip of it and get it started. And then I'm just kind of sliding the knife down and stripping that meat off of its skin. And you can see we have a very, very thin amount of skin left, and our fillet looks good. So there's the first one. Just going to flip it around and do the same thing. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hold on to that skin. There we go. Second one, discard our skin. And then we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Now, when I do it, I always want to position the fish to where the curve cut is closest to me, because it's almost impossible to do when it's away from you. You just don't have that kind of control. So I'm going to come back here behind the fin, cut up into that section using the tip of the blade. Come back through. You can hear the backbone that I'm bouncing off of. And I'm being careful not to cut through it. So then we get to this end section about an inch or so back. We cut it there, and we've removed that section. And you can look, there's really not much meat left. Some people can eat this meat that's in between the bones if they want to contend with the bones. I don't think there's a lot there, and it's really not worth my time, but it's available. Perfect bait for lobster, that's what it is. Okay, so we got that one done. We're going to do the same thing with the ribs here. Come at an angle underneath those ribs, cutting them free. There's that section. And then we'll come back here to about where the middle is, you know, two serving sizes. I'm coming down, I'm not using any pressure really until I touch that skin. Let the knife do the work, don't force it. Taking the tip again, pushing it, and sliding it through. There's one. And there we go, two. And we're all done. Now at this point, this you can serve up and eat. There are some small bones in the center section because the bones that ran laterally for the fish, we had to cut. So that's where I would use the sushi knife, which is super sharp. I get this as straight as I can, because that way the knife can be close. And I'll put it right up against it, and I'll cut those bones free. And if you want a truly boneless piece of meat, there it is. Absolutely no bones in it at all. And then I'll turn it the other way, get it as straight as I can, and do the same thing. And again, I'm letting the knife do the work. I'm not like forcing it. And there we go. So there's our piece. Absolutely no bones. We cut it into strips. It's easy to cook. And you're all set. Kayla, why don't you come up here? Introduce my camera girl. She does all of my filming for me. Not a member of the SAG union yet. A little young, but someday, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye. Go turn it off, honey. There we go.